Panchakalpadurusha Kripasindhave Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Welcome to Japa Jolt, everyone. Good morning and evening, wherever you're beaming in from. Stalwarts. Hare Kṛṣṇa. In the Gita, Krishna says that devotional service is directly experienced. Pratyaksha Vakamam Dharm Yam. The perfection of the spiritual process, he said, is that which is experienced directly. And there is no more direct process than the experience of any living entity, as we're part and parcel of Krishna. Reaching out to Krishna by calling his name. Japa is a heartfelt expression from us to Krishna. Please engage me in your service. Please rescue me from this material world. There are many attitudes the devotee has, but they can all be expressed sincerely by chanting. And when we add the emotion of Krishna, please save me, Krishna, please engage me, as we're chanting, then we'll feel that very direct connection, which is always there. It's never lost. It's just that I'm unaware of it, as my emotions are invested elsewhere. And it's as if I'm ignoring Krishna. That's why it's called ignorance, which is also called ignorance. So ignorance hurts. It creates a darkness, which is the material world. And that can be overcome in one fell swoop by sincerely chanting Krishna's names. I'll just read a quick instruction from Prabhupada in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. From Kaviraj Goswami, who writes, "Raising my hands, I declare, everyone please hear me. String this verse on the thread of the holy name and wear it on your neck for continuous remembrance." Prabhupada. When chanting the Hare Kṛṣṇa Maha Mantra, in the beginning, one may commit many offenses, which are called namabhasa and namaparadha. In this stage, there is no possibility of achieving perfect love of Krishna by chanting the Hare Kṛṣṇa Maha Mantra. Therefore, one must chant the Hare Kṛṣṇa Maha Mantra according to the principles of the above verse. Trinad api suni chena toror iva suhishnuna. One should note in this connection that chanting involves the activities of the upper and lower lips, as well as the tongue. All three must be engaged in chanting the Hare Kṛṣṇa Maha Mantra. The words Hare Kṛṣṇa should be very directly pronounced and heard. Sometimes one mechanically produces a hissing sound instead of chanting with the proper pronunciation with the help of the lips and tongue. Chanting is very simple, but one must practice it seriously. Therefore, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami, advises everyone to keep this verse always strung about his neck. It's very interesting that Prabhupada equates the deliberate chanting using one's tongue and lips with Trinadapi Sunichena, not taking it for granted that, oh, I'm just chanting again and making it mechanical, but it is deliberate. And in that deliberateness, there's a way in which we also feel this sense of seriousness, which also sparks attention. So we can give this verse our full attention, be humble, be grateful, and be very deliberate in the chanting. And as usual, we start off with the Panchatattva mantra, which is the gateway. No one can approach Krishna directly, but Lord Chaitanya comes as a devotee, and he brings his parshads with him so that we have access to chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa. So let's try. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Quick tip. So free will is our attention. And it's possible to be doing one thing and thinking of something else. So the quality of chanting is dependent on how much we give attention directly and exclusively to the holy name. And a good admonition for that is when you're chanting, be aware that you're chanting and just keep coming back to being present with the holy name who's mercifully appearing. And this exclusivity, not thinking of anything else, just bypassing the brain and going right from the lips to the ears, just staying in that mode, is a one-pointedness that brings very powerful connection to Krishna. Om Tat Sat. So now we take a few minutes to share how was your chanting realizations? What was the experience of getting on to Japa Jolt today? How was it chanting? Shikar, New York?
Hare Kṛṣṇa Maharaj.
Hare
Yes, New
Krishna.
York. Um, you talked about attention, Maharaj. I've been thinking a lot about how to improve my chanting. In Harinam Chintamani, Haridas Thakur talks pretty much for an entire chapter about the importance of understanding that Krishna Tattva is non-different from Krishna Nama Tattva and Krishna Guna Tattva and Krishna Lila Tattva. And if I understand that if I actually internalize that, then that would make a massive impact on my chanting, because it's like we're calling out, like let's just say I have a friend and I call out to them, I'm like, hey you, and they're like, yes Shrikar. I'm like, hey you again, and they're like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, hey you, hey you, hey you, hey you, and I'm doing it without any attention. Then eventually they're going to start ignoring me, or they're going to feel very offended that I'm just calling out their name and not actually responding to them. So the importance of attention is an understanding that Krishna is really within, like we're associating with Krishna directly through his name, is what I realized that I don't do enough of, and I could do a much better job instead of very carelessly chanting.
Thank you very much, Shrikar. It's a extremely important point you made about how everything's there within the holy name, Nam, Gun, Rup, Lila. And Prabhupada makes a similar point several times, and so does Narada Muni in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5th chapter, where everything unfolds from the sincere chanting of the holy name. Thanks for being here. Nice realization. Sharing means caring. Manya.
Hare Krishna. Today I noticed that my mind was just constantly going to things I have to do today. And there was one point in my chanting where I almost checked my Google Calendar to see if I have a service that I need to do or a meeting that I have today. And I was thinking how chanting and service kind of go hand in hand, and it's almost like a loop, because when you're chanting, you're asking to be engaged in service. And when you're doing the service, you're trying to get a little bit of an experience of selfless service and trying to be more attached to chanting. And then you go back to chanting, and then you want service, and then it kind of keeps going. And I was reflecting that if I am thinking about a service or a meeting that I have to do, um, it all connects to my chanting, and I'm actually engaging in that service so I can give more to this practice and this, like my sadhana. So it just reminded me that this is important and I can give more attention to it at this present moment. And that really helped me kind of come back to this space. Yeah.
Thanks, Manya. I'm sure that's very relatable. The mind is constantly trying to fortify us, see where we're missing anything and moving on. And Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Suridan Nishoy Krishna Bhakti Koila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. There's ways in which we become fully aware that we can't do anything, and we're fully dependent on Krishna to finish anything, start anything, then there's a natural sense of surrender, relief. So I'll just chant Hare Krishna because I can't do it without Krishna. Two more. Tungavidya.
Hare Kṛṣṇa greeting. I've been going through some of my old journal entries from Japa Jolt, so I've taken notes. All right, I did a better job on it earlier last year, but anyways, I was looking at a quote that I think Gopal Champu Prabhu had put in a chat where he quoted you actually, and it was this is the quote: "Crystal clear answers to hard questions and solutions to difficult problems naturally arise in the minds and hearts of those who serve Krishna by loudly chanting and attentively listening to the Maha Mantra during their daily japa practice." And I thought that was, I've saved it for a very long time and I always come back to it periodically because I love it so much. But it also brings up a question for me, which I've heard the phrase that we can serve Krishna through our chanting. And for me, when I think of service, I think of something more actively, like of some benefit in some way. So, like when you're making bhoga for Krishna, it's like you're making food for him, or you clean the temple, so it's cleaning his house. And those feel like more things that I'm doing like in a way that benefits Krishna, or like there's an active aspect to it, but I feel like chanting actually is more for my own benefit to purify myself. So I just wonder about like the use of the word service in that regard.
Krishna's mostly interested in our love. And of course, we expressed our love through our service. But imagine a mother whose little child is there. I just saw a video somebody sent me yesterday of their little child who's maybe about 8 months old now. And I could tell that that was the mother doing the video because I could hear her coaxing the child to just look at me, and to do something. And a couple times the child looked at the mother and she goes, "Oh." And, Krishna's affection for us is eternal and it's always there. Sanitya nitya sambandha prakritischa paraivacha. We have this eternal loving relationship with Krishna that we've ignored. So imagine how Krishna feels when we, the dependent, helpless living being whom he's fond of beyond compare, it just looks at him and chants his name. Actually, she was trying to get the child, was this person it was the husband who sent me the video. But the mother at one point was trying to get the child to say mama. She kept coaching him, mama, mama, because I could tell she wanted the child's first words to be mama. And they're like, hey. And so, yeah, we're like that little baby. And imagine, Krishna's there and we're going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So, service that we do is always based on our intention. If we're cooking something, or we're dressing the deity, or let's say leading a kirtan, we're chanting Hare Krishna, but the mantra coming from our heart is actually, look at me, look at me, look at me, everybody look at me. It's not the same as if you're expressing, Krishna, you're everything. And so the real service comes from that intention of the way you're doing it. And the chanting is the time, as I said in the very beginning, when you can fully express that. And even a molecule of that expression of sincerity is what connects us so deeply with Krishna, because he's already there waiting for us to look in his direction. So you can think of it like that. He doesn't need anything from us, but when we give our loving attention with the mood of service, then that's service itself. Hallelujah Kripa Prabhu for the close.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
New Jersey?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
I was thinking about one thing, which is that there's a verse in Bhagavatam. It goes like, Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuto bhayam yoginam nirpanirninam harinam anukirtanam. It related to my japa today because I've been trying to get my career back on track, and sometimes I go through material fear, anxiety, doubts. But then this verse talks about how by chanting the holy name, it's a fearless and doubtless way of success for all, whether you're one without material desire, one with material desire. So I thought it was helpful for a person like me who does have material desire and material fears. So it was relatable.
These verses are so encouraging, aren't they? That's Shukadeva Goswami. And in it, as you mentioned, the word nirnitam, he's assuring us that this has been vetted by all the, as if it wasn't enough coming from Shukadeva Goswami, he says, but I'll tell you that all the previous authorities have agreed to this. He's telling us that every spiritual judge in the world, what to speak of jury, has come to the conclusion that this is the process. So you could take it as axiomatic. And whatever condition we're in now, the chanting is appropriate. And that's an important point to remember, because we can talk ourselves out of it by saying, oh, my chanting isn't good enough, so I won't chant at all. But that's not what Shukadev's saying. And nor is it the mood of the Bhagavatam, which is akama sarva kamova moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. In whatever condition you're in, you want liberation, you're already liberated, you only want Krishna, you want all material things, you should still chant Hare Kṛṣṇa under the protection of the disciplic succession, and Krishna will make everything crystal clear. The realizations and the purification, everything comes from the chanting of the holy name. Thank you, everybody. I know you're extremely busy. You've got so many things to do, places to be, but you deliberately came here and spent your time in this space. It means the world to me, and it's the very essence of a strong practice, is to show up at the right place at the right time, whether you feel like it or not. That's tapasya. And that's what makes life worth living, especially human life. And I commend you all for your diligence. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Sri Panchatattva, Sri Haridas Thakur, Sri Harinam Prabhu, if you so desire, please engage us in your service of chanting your holy names with full attention every day and finishing our japa as has been requested by all the great acharyas. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Kṛṣṇa.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kripa Sindhaveva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Hey, Drew, Vrindavan. Hare
Hare
Kṛṣṇa.
Amen.
Premanande Haribo.